think we need it so much, especially nowadays. You know, you think back to the world 60 years ago, people had an optimism. There was an idea that, you know, things were getting better. And we go through, and it goes through waves. There are moments where people believe things are going better, and then there are moments when you think, oh no, this is going terribly. We've had a lot of those waves in recent memory, and so I think, and then it's coupled with the advent of the internet, which sort of widely acknowledged to be a cesspool of the very worst parts of humanity, or at least it can be. I think that we've hit a point where I see people around me, I see that hope, that optimism, not valued, not prioritized. Maybe people feel foolish doing it. I don't feel that way. I'm wake up every day full of optimism. I mean, yeah, it hurts me to see the pain that people in. It hurts me to see how much we miss it many days. But I also do see the vast majority of people in this world being good to each other, being kind. Maybe not to everybody, maybe not every minute of every day, but there's usually one person in everybody's life that they treat they become bigger than they would otherwise be in order to treat them with the respect and the love that they feel that they deserve. And that's what gives me hope. I see the goodness. I just see it also needing to be nurtured and expanded. Well, that for me was the fascinating thing about my character was she can't be put into a box. She's a scientist and she's got an incredibly strong spiritual side. I think they're actually, if you think about her, you know, in a race, they're both winning. You know, it's neck and neck between the two of them. And the more she understands science, the more deeply spiritual she gets, and vice versa. And that for me was great because we don't often think about people as being able to be both. Well, we had some, you know, conversations just kind of establishing the rules and the social uh, makeup of our unit. You know, who was in charge, who was the captain, was that person always meant to be the captain? Did it change? Were there feelings about that? When this happens, who steps into the leadership position? When this happens, who, you know, so we had to work all of those things out. But my character has, in the beginning, she's a little resentful of Matthew's character, so I didn't feel the need to discuss that with him or to say so because she's kind of passive aggressive about it, so I thought that maybe I would just keep that to myself and let it rip when the camera started to roll. No, oh my gosh, it would be impossible. It would be like not eating a big bowl of ice cream right in front of you. I mean, Matthew is so wonderful and lovable. He really put me at ease, and you know, I learned tremendous amount from him, not just about acting, which I did, but also how to be an actor on set, how to keep the experience serious and light at the same time, how to act from a place of deep knowledge of your character, but also freedom and openness. And so I didn't want to keep my distance from him. Right. Well, you don't learn your lines on the day. In this movie in particular, I started studying my lines months before the cameras ever rolled. A, because I felt like that was what I was supposed to be doing, but also because I was playing a character who's much smarter than me. And it was really important to me that she sounded like she knew what she was talking about. And so it became very important to me to know the lines inside and out, know the physics behind the lines, to understand deeply the emotion that my character feels about these lines. Because for her, because of the way her life has gone up to the point when you meet her, one of her great love affairs in her life is with science. And it actually, and I can't talk about it now, but when you see the film, you'll understand. When you understand her big relationships in her life, her big emotional relationships, they're all based around science. So for her, this is the language of love. So I knew that it was important that when I said these lines, you would get a great deal of emotion and from them, which was one of the challenges for me. Yes, there was a really hard line to say, just because it was very difficult. But it was this big emotional scene, Matthew, which was so much fun to do because we just let it rip with each other. And I can't tell you why I say it or anything. I say, Cooper, like I say, Luke Cooper, I screwed up. I'm sorry, but you knew about relativity. And for some reason, I was so afraid of that line, and I just wanted to say it right, because I knew if I didn't sell that line, I didn't know why, but I just knew I was gonna lose some of the audience. So I worked really, really hard on it. So hopefully when you see that line, I said it correctly. That was the one. The rest of it, I was okay. You know, definitely there were a few that made my heart beat faster, but that was the one because it was so simple. Because it was so simple, I had to say, you know, with the other ones, you know, you're communicating. That one is one that the audience can grasp. And so I thought, if we don't get this one, we've lost them. And so that one for me was the biggest. Like, that one had, like, you know, that one had the pulse. It was kind of vibrating, like, this one is important. I think that this is a film that encourages you to take a long, hard look at what it is to be alive, and asks you to connect to this idea that we don't know what came before, we don't know what's coming after, but right now, we know what we have. And I think that's to be valued and not to be taken for granted. And I know that sounds, you know, pretty hippy-dippy, but I think it's worth saying. And I think the film, that the film is able to say, get this message across in a way that doesn't feel cliche or hackneyed, is a real, is part of its success.